Hello and welcome, I'm Eleanor. Thanks for clicking. So today we're doing part 3 in the How to Draw Realistically series. So today we're doing shading. So basically when you're shading, find a focal point to focus on and start on, and then work on other things. So for example, we're going to start with this hat. And once we have the hat done, we're going to move on to the pillow. And then when we're done with the pillow, we'll do this little bit of blanket area. When you're shading, keep in mind, think proportions, but shading wise. I have no idea why I said that, that made zero sense. What I actually meant to say was basically, when you shade, keep it relative to the color of the object you're working with. So if you're shading a lighter colored object, your shadows are going to be lighter than if you're shading a dark colored object. So that way when you're done drawing, your light colored objects actually look light colored and your dark colored objects actually look dark colored. If you don't do that, everything's gonna look the same color. It's not gonna look good. So like on this pillow, for example, here, you're gonna have to shade it because there's a shadow here. When you do that, don't go super dark because then it's gonna look weird because this is a light colored pillow. And when you look at the actual shadow, it's not super dark. It's actually kind of a light colored shadow. So we're gonna do that. And then but here, this is going to be a darker shadow. So we're going to fill that in darker. And when you're shading, usually what I do is I find the darkest spots and I color those in. And then once I do that, I go gradually lighter from those spots. So we're gonna start with these darker shaded in areas. Right, we have those really dark areas, and then we're going to gradually lighten it to the lighter areas. And also when you're doing this, keep in mind the direction of your pencil stroke, because the pencils, unless you're really careful about keeping everything lined up nicely, super evenly shaded, you're going to have little lines that you can see here, which direction I was shading it in. I was shading in like that. But like on this pillow, we're going to want to go really light and really gentle to get it more even. But because you have these lines created when you're shading, use that to your advantage and go in the direction that makes the most sense. So like if you're drawing a lock of hair, right? Don't shade it in like that because hair doesn't go that direction. Hair goes down in this direction. Use that to your advantage to get it looking more realistic. And other things too, like grass going in the direction that you would see the lines in, is going to help a lot. Then here we're going to go in the direction of this hat stitching, what you call it. So do that. And you can see that it's really light. So in some areas, like here, we're going to go in and darker. And also constantly look back at your reference, because you should be using a reference photo unless you already know how to draw well, in which case, why are you watching this video? But use your reference and constantly refer back to that to see like, oh, this part's actually a little bit darker than I thought it would be. Oh, apparently you actually have to put a shadow over there that I didn't notice earlier. Okay, so you have that hat in. Go a little darker with that. And like I was just saying, you should go in a stroke order that goes with the flow or whatever of your drawing, but obviously I completely broke that rule. So it's more of a recommendation. Use it if you need to, if not, ignore it. And then with the pillow, we're gonna go really light with these shadows. So try to do it as light and as evenly as possible. And again, like with the hat, start with the darkest spots, fill those in. than if you have shadows in your drawing, which if you're trying to do realistic, you should have shadows. If not, there's something wrong with your picture. Also, when you're drawing shadows, keep in mind whether it's like a blurry shadow or a sharp shadow. You see, right? That's not sharp. It's blurry. So you want to blend it out. You want to shade it out so it looks blended. Versus some things over here, you can see that's a lot sharper of a line, more stark of a contrast. So you want to shade it in so it has more of that stark contrast. Yeah, experiment. That's basically the best way to start getting good at drawing. You just experiment. And also, everything I'm talking about, these are kind of more just things I do that help me, but not necessarily rules I follow to a T, because, you know, just watching me do this, you've seen me break every single rule. You've seen me break some of the rules I've said already. So, don't take me for gospel. Okay, so we got that. I was going to do the blanket. I'm not going to do the blanket. Oh, also, when you're shading it in, this is more true if you have a bigger drawing, but if you have to start doing something over here and your hand goes over that, do not put your hand down on the paper and drag it across, because you're going to smudge that all up and it's going to look terrible. So some people take a piece of paper and they'll put it down there and then they'll do that. What I do is that because I kind of need to anchor myself down, so you can like put your pinky down there and then use that as an anchor. You also don't need to use any kind of anchor. You can just keep your hand floating, but for getting fine details that I need to anchor myself, or you can anchor yourself using that. You can use this part of your palm and anchor that down and then draw from there. Or you can do what I usually do, is that you take this part of your hand and you put it down on the drawing, but you don't drag it across. You keep it down and you just move straight up and down on your drawing, and that'll stop it from smudging everywhere. If you're right-handed, try your best to like shade it in from this side going this way, so that way you're not going to be going like drawing it all nice here and then going over here and having your hand going over there and smudging all over there. So if you're right-handed, draw from left to right. If you're left-handed, draw from right to left. That'll help. Things that are closer are going to be clearer, more detailed, versus things farther. You know, the farther something is, and you try to look at it, it gets blurrier and less detailed. Keep that in mind. That'll help you get that look of depth to your drawing. Yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Go enjoy some shading, or not. But yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.